Turn your back on family?
I got no choice.
Don't do this, Dom.
Let's show the world what we've got.
You want to see the old Dom? Watch. Hell yeah! Go!
It's zombie time.
The Fate of the Furious.
Let the battle begin! Oh! He's knocked out!
That's a big right hand and he's gone. And I don't think he'll get up from that.
This fight could be over.
Oh, Mayweather makes him pay. He's not going to make it. 9 and 10.
And that's the fight. It is over.
Knockouts. Only on Fight Sports.
Hello and welcome. This is TVWAN Midday News. Former Planning Minister and member for Finsafen Rainbow Paita is back in Cabinet following his swearing in as the minister assisting the Prime Minister yesterday at the Government House. The swearing-in ceremony yesterday also saw the appointment of the Menyamia MP Solen Loifa as Vice Minister assisting the Prime Minister. Minister Paita's appointment brings the number of the Cabinet Ministers to 39, marking a pivotal moment for the government's stability and unity following his departure last year. Paita left the government in May 2024 as part of a coalition in an attempt to overthrow the Maraperoso government. However, he returned to government following an unsuccessful attempt. The Prime Minister emphasized that Minister Paita's return underscores the enduring strength of the coalition government. Two warring tribes in Chimbu province negotiated a peace agreement following an ongoing conflict that resulted in 7 deaths and property destroyed. The fighting allegedly started from misleading reports of the domestic violence case between a married couple where the wife's clansman Dimbai Gawale and husband's clansman Gurumul Kerenga engaged in fighting each other from November 11, 2024 to January 13, 2025. Chimbu Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Mazuk Rabiang said despite the lives lost and property destroyed, the continued peace negotiation and awareness from both the police personnel and the community leaders enabled the two warring clans to come to an agreement and decide on peace talks. He said the peace talks eventually led to the actual Brukim Suga and peace ceremony, which is scheduled for Wednesday, 6th February 2025. Graduation marks the culmination of years of hard work and sacrifice. And for the University of Goroka, it was a milestone moment as the next generation of midwifery leaders graduated last week. Coinciding with Papua New Guinea's 50th independence anniversary, the graduation reflects a bright future for the nation. Since 2012, the Australian High Commission has awarded 219 scholarships for the Bachelor of Midwifery program at UOG, with 170 scholarships going to women. Among the standout graduates, Berendika Bebeyuo received the Midwifery Clinical Practice Award and PNG Australia Partnership Prize for her exceptional academic and leadership skills. Gilbert Gay was honoured with the Midwifery Leadership Award for his life-saving efforts in the remote villages. To overseas news, more than a dozen neo-Nazis from across the country are facing an Adelaide court today after consenting on the city's war memorial on Australia Day. A supporter of the group was also arrested outside the police watch house today for allegedly displaying a Nazi symbol.
16 people who are all members of the National Socialist Network were charged with various offences, including loitering, going disguised and displaying a Nazi symbol on Sunday. The group was arrested after standing on the War Memorial on North Terrace in the city in disguise on Australia Day at the same time as other organised protests. Two of them, a 16-year-old boy and a 57-year-old man, have already been granted police bail to appear in court at a later date. A small group of supporters arrived in court before the hearing today, with one of them arrested for allegedly being present at Sunday's protest. He was charged with 2 counts of displaying a Nazi symbol and will likely appear in court tomorrow. One of those granted bail we've seen today is Shannon George Bartell, a 24-year-old man from Adelaide. He's the only South Australian who was arrested after Sunday's protest. As a part of his bail, he's banned from the city and must stay away from all war memorials and statues. The other was 30-year-old Mason James Robbins, who was charged with possessing an article of disguise and use of the Nazi symbol. Most of those appearing in court today are expected to be granted bail and will have to return to South Australia for their next court date later this year.
Shoppers and travellers are being warned to expect more hip pocket pain as the Australian dollar stumbles. Global currency traders are waiting for more details on Donald Trump's signature tariff policy, which has investors buying up US dollars.
Travelling can be stressful, and for Aussies going overseas, they're finding their money isn't going as far. Philip and Martina Cross have been watching the Aussie dollar for 4 to 5 weeks.
I think you just have to step around it in some ways.
The couple are heading to Europe and won't be splashing out at fancy restaurants.
The tour is all-inclusive, so I think that makes it a lot easier.
The Australian dollar has been falling against a basket of currencies in recent months, including the euro and US dollar.
It's become really clear that the Aussie dollar is sensitive to Trump's tariff policy, so that if he goes aggressively on tariffs, then the Aussie will weaken.
Also hitting the Aussie, a weak Chinese economy, sending commodities prices lower.
They're our largest export partner. So the weak outlook there is depressing the outlook for Australian exports and therefore demand for the Aussie.
I think that the risks are that we see it struggling near term.
How low could we go?
I think we can get into the high 50s area.
What the US Federal Reserve does with interest rates, analysts say, is the big wild card for the Australian dollar. Higher US interest rates relative to Australia puts downwards pressure on the local currency as traders buy up US dollars to invest in American assets. If, for example, there are fewer interest rate cuts in the United States, the local currency, the Aussie dollar, could fall further.
A weaker dollar pushes up the price of US imports, making the inflation fight more difficult, with Aussies still grappling with the cost of living crisis.
Back home in sports, the South Pacific Darts Kings are expected to return home this afternoon after taking out the 4th edition of the South Pacific Darts Championship in Suva, Fiji over the weekend. The PNG men's national darts team will be returning home with the gold title. On their second appearance at the event, the national men's darts team made the country and darts fans proud with a fitting achievement. On the other hand, the women's team was average and did not do well in their game. Nevertheless, the ladies represented their country with pride. The South Pacific Darts Championship will return home to a deserving welcome reception as the PNG Darts Federation is already preparing it. The players will head straight to the reception on their arrival, which is booked at the Sports Inn Club. The PNG Darts teams, both men and women, won the inaugural South Pacific Darts Championship in 2018 in Port Vila, Vanuatu. They didn't participate in the second and third editions due to financial reasons. In the fierce grand final showdown, the men's team claimed the title over the Cook Islands. In sports abroad, after a night of celebrating their first BBL title, the Hurricanes team members joined jubilant fans for a meet and greet and a heap of cricket on Hobart's eastern shore.
The day after securing a historic maiden title, the party continued for Hobart Hurricanes players and fans.
It was amazing. It was so exciting. Yes.
Relishing a long-awaited victory, 7 years after the Hurricanes last made it to a final and more than a decade after joining the Big Bash League.
14 years is worth the wait, No, fantastic.
Today, fans gathered at Kangaroo Bay on Hobart's eastern shore to brush up on their skills and give the team a hero's welcome. One player in particular captured the attention of fans.
Because Mitch Owen, he did a lot of sixes and fours.
My favourite player is probably Mitch Owen.
Oh, probably Mitch Owen.
Yeah, love Mitch Owen.
Hobart Hurricanes supporters have watched the team fight for a title twice before, but haven't tasted victory until now. Fans here say it was well worth the wait and adds to the momentum of the Cane train.
More people coming during the season would be absolutely incredible. I think they deserve that.
So I'm really happy that we managed to get people back on the Hobart Hurricanes bandwagon and bring home some silverware.
A team and a fan base continuing to go into bat for Tassie sport.
And that ends our midday news for today. Join us for more news and sports at 6 p.m.